Would you agree with me if I told you that Insidious had some of the most memorable demon villains in recent horror history? Their designs and surrounding lore making them incredibly hard to forget. But from a writing perspective, how good are they actually? Today I'm analyzing Parker Crane, also known as the Bride in Black, and giving them a score 1 out of 10. I do this all the time, like every single week pretty much, so make sure you subscribe. Every week, new villain, new score, who's the best villain of all time? That's our goal here.
That is not your name! Parker! Is not your name!
We actually get more details on the motives and origin of the Bride in Black than almost any other villain in this franchise. Insidious 2 giving us some full-on details and even flashback scenes. Born to a father that left him and a mother that's an acquired taste, Parker was constantly abused by his mom, who resented him for not being a girl and the child she always wanted. From an early age, she made him dress like a girl and even ditched the name Parker, which was given to him by his dad. She said, "You're not Parker, you gotta go by Marilyn. That's your name now." The abuse and torment from his mom would continue on for years, eventually pushing Parker to become a serial killer, the kind that would specifically target young girls, the thing his mom always wanted. Eventually, Parker would kill himself by jumping off a building and would continue his Bride in Black persona while living in the Further, a limbo type realm souls pass through in the afterlife. In the Further, spirits can hijack the bodies of those still alive when they travel there in their sleep, Parker forming an obsession with a young boy Josh Lambert. The leading theory here being that Parker's obsession with Josh forms from his jealousy of Josh's youth, wanting to re-enter the world as Josh and live the life he never got. The motive of Parker Crane, I think you can see some similarities to other serial killer type villains. People who are abused, and because of that they never properly develop in their adult lives. It makes his past sympathetic, but the movie never tries to excuse his actions or make you feel bad for him. It is also pretty nice to have an actual backstory and origin for one of the villains here, since we don't really get that in any other villain. Lipstick Demon likes Tiny Tim. Keyface Demon likes keys. I don't know. Insidious villains are different from other big villains in the sense their personalities are a little more hidden. They might not have these big villain monologues or interesting dialogue interactions, but what the first two villains in the franchise do really well is convey their personalities through other means. Don't get me started on the Keyface guy though. Not great. Obviously, we learn a lot about Parker from his past, but none of that really tells us about the personality of the villain we're spending time with. One of the most important things to talk about here when discussing the personality of Parker Crane is his relationship with his arch-rival Elise. During his attempts to steal little Josh's body, his plan is foiled by Elise, who suppresses Josh's ability to travel, therefore making it harder for Parker to get to his body. From there, we see how vengeful Parker can be and how much he holds a grudge against those who do him wrong. The two women who live rent-free in his head being Elise and his mom. From there, we get one of the biggest themes surrounding Parker, or at least what I took away from him, this idea of letting go. The idea of moving on and letting go surrounds Parker Crane in the more obvious idea of souls in the Further wanting to come back, but also in the sense of his childhood trauma, and again, these relationships. I understand saying, oh, just move on from your childhood trauma is easier said than done, and probably pretty damn difficult, but as always, what makes these villains villains is the way they go about it. Parker isn't able to escape his mom as a child, and he still can't as an adult. One side of him is torn to be the Bride in Black, the culmination of his mom's abuse, and the other wants to be the child he never got to be. His plan to achieve this: hijack Josh's body. But even when he gets Josh's body, he still can't escape his mother's torment, which, once again, pushes him down a bad path. A path that ends up costing him his new life on Earth in this body. If you'll allow me to theorize for a second, if that's alright with you, maybe that's why he only kills girls and the reason why he hates Elise so much. Elise is the more interesting one for me because I think he sees Elise as some form of his mom. Stick with me here, it's not weird. Elise is someone who stops him from getting what he wants, stops him from living the life he wants for himself, the life as the young boy. The same exact thing his mother did to him as a child. Determined to not be stopped this time, I think that's why he's so determined to kill Elise. Because he's not a child anymore. He can fight back. He can take his destiny into his own hands. The reason why he only kills girls, that could be for several reasons. Maybe it's because he's jealous of them for being what his mom always wanted. Or what I'm leaning towards is maybe it's him wanting to kill them out of hate. The idea of being a girl, a woman in general, only associated with bad feelings and memories. We shouldn't like him or feel bad for him, but it's interesting to try and understand him. Something that makes him one of the franchise's more interesting villains by a long shot.
What is Parker Crane holding behind his back?
The Bride in Black actually doesn't have that much screen time. And no, I'm not including the Stan Lee cameo performances from like Insidious 5 and stuff like that. Yeah, no. Really, we're talking the first two movies, and even then, we're really only talking the second movie. I will say that's not particularly a bad thing, as in films like this, less is more, and Insidious tends to do a pretty good job of showing their demons just the right amount. In Insidious 1, the best moment for the Bride in Black is actually a scene they're not actually in. It's where we first learn of their existence and how they've been pursuing Josh through the pictures. Everything about this scene is pretty damn great. I love how ominous it is, and it's all made better by the tremendous design of the character. It does get a little confusing the more you think about it. Like, has Josh never had a photo taken in the last 20 years? Does the Bride in Black start to back away over time in the background of the pictures? What happens if a stranger took a picture and Josh just so happened to be in the background? Don't think about it. I should have mentioned this before, but the design of the character, like I said, it kicks butt. The funny thing about Insidious 1, I'm pretty sure they meant the bride to be an actual girl. I saw some video where James Wan was like, yeah, I wanted the bride to be played by a guy because it's creepier. Which implies originally they weren't a guy, because otherwise, I don't know, that just seems strange. No need for that fun fact. The design is really highlighted in the ending scene between the bride and Josh. Damn dude, it looks creepy. In Insidious 2, most of the bride's screen time is in Josh's body, and it's great because it just lets Patrick Wilson go crazy and nail the performance. But I will say I am a bit bummed we don't get like one, really good scene with the Bride in Black, like in the full, cosplay, whatever you want to call it. When I think of the Bride in Black, I think of the scenes in Insidious 1. In Insidious 2, when I think about the bride, I think about possessed Josh and the little boy girl version of it. Still, possessed Josh is an absolute hoot of a good time. Unhinged Patrick Wilson, like I said, is pretty unhinged. I will say though, if I can critique again, it does kind of form a divide between Parker Crane and the Bride in Black. I don't know, sometimes I just feel like these are two different characters. Wish it was a little more seamless. There's the Bride in Black, and then there's evil Patrick Wilson. Wish it was more seamless, like I said. Also, the flashbacks are great. How dare you! One of the best moments in the franchise. And Mrs. Crane, no offense, you're not a nice lady, you're creepy. If you play God of War, all you'll hear is Freya, because she's played by Freya. So that's fun.
Are you alone?
No. She's here.
In the Insidious franchise, the Bride in Black does a lot of really good stuff, but also falls a little bit short in a few key areas. We don't actually see the Bride in Black a whole lot, and sure, it's fine, less is more, my whole spiel from earlier, but I do think they could have done a better job of making the two characters feel seamless, because I don't really think they feel like the same character. Regardless though, I like some of the themes surrounding the character, I like the lore, I like the design of it, there's a lot to really like here. So at the end of the day, overall, good villain, not legendary epic villain, but a really solid villain. I'm gonna give the Bride in Black Parker Crane a 7.
Get the hell away from me! Get away from me! Get away from me!
Thanks so much for watching. I make new videos all the damn time, so make sure you subscribe. You're not going to want to miss some. Also, subscribe to the second channel, please. If it hits 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a big epic villain review series. It's going to be insane. Brooklanders, I'll talk to you later.